For most people, when they think of pythons, the first thing that comes to mind is big snakes, things like Burmese pythons and reticulated pythons. But if you're a fan of reptiles, you'll know that we've also got some pretty small pythons, particularly here in Australia, and that'd be the children's python family. Now, the largest of the children's pythons is this guy here, the spotted python, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. So the spotted python, which also used to be known as the eastern children's python, is found up the east coast of Australia, all the way from up in Papua New Guinea, down through eastern Queensland along the Great Dividing Range and into northern New South Wales, whereas the true children's python is actually found across the northern coast of Australia, the western side of Queensland, the Northern Territory and into Western Australia. Now these guys grow as big as 1.4 metres long, but they're usually a smidge smaller, which is about 3 to 4 feet in length, and this actually makes them the largest of the children's python family, or the Antaresia genus, but they're still comparatively small snakes as far as pythons go. Throughout their range, these guys are found in a wide variety of ecosystems, but their favourite places to live within whatever habitat they are is within rocky areas, particularly things like caves, where these guys find their favourite food, which is insectivorous bats. These guys are mammal eaters, so they'll certainly take mice and rats and things like this, but they love to feed on small bats. And they catch these by suspending themselves from the roofs of the caves which the bats are flying out. And at dusk, they snatch them out of midair as they're flying past, which I think is kind of amazing. For an animal that's 3 feet long with no arms, no legs, to catch a bat mid-flight, swallow it, all without falling from the roof, is pretty amazing stuff. If they don't have any luck catching bats in mid-flight, these guys are known to come to the cave floor and scour around for any bat pups that have fallen to the ground. So these guys aren't fussy. On top of that, they will take mice, rats, and they'll even take little birds. And as babies, as hatchlings, these guys feed on a lot of lizards. So they've got a fairly diverse diet as well. Now, hatchlings are born at about 30 centimetres long. They hatch out between November and January, early summer basically. And these eggs hatch after an 80-day incubation. During this incubation, mum will wrap around her 10 or so eggs, and she'll not only defend them, but she'll also share her body warmth with them to help them incubate. Now these eggs are laid about 90 days after mating, which takes place in about late winter, and it takes up to 2 years for these 30 centimetre babies to become these 100, 120, 140 centimetre adults, which is a comparatively short time, especially when you think that these guys live to 30 years in captivity. Because of the fact that these guys attain a relatively small size, yet they're not so small that they're fragile, these guys actually make perfect pet snakes. In fact, these guys are one of the most popular pet snakes, not only in Australia, but they're growing in popularity overseas. Now, fortunately, here in Australia, the pet trade doesn't pose any real risk to them. They're a fairly abundant species, and here in Australia, all of our reptiles have to be captive born. So nothing's coming out of the wild, and there's plenty of them already being bred in captivity. Now, if you're interested in a snake like this, it might just be the perfect snake for you. But if you're not interested in a pet snake, I hope nonetheless you've enjoyed learning about these guys. They're wonderful species, they're fascinating animals. And I hope if you have enjoyed the video, you'll do us a favour and leave a thumbs up, a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff. But between now and next week, there'll be lots more wildlife content coming. Be nice to snakes, have a good one and take care.